Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day. My name is Rolando, this is Isaiah, and today we'll be showing you how to do a barbell bench press. An all-time favorite among many weight trainers and one of the most fundamental exercises that everyone should know how to do. Now before you begin the exercise, you want to get your equipment set up and ready to go. First thing you want to do is set the bench in the middle of the rack, and after that you want to get your catchers ready and put into a position where they're not going to be so high to the point where they restrict any movement from the bar coming down, nor too low where they won't be able to catch the weight in case of any emergencies. Moving on to the hooks that hold the barbell in place, you want them positioned in a spot where it's not so high that you can't fully extend your arms to get the bar off the hooks, nor do you want it too low to the point where you're using a lot of force before you even begin your exercise. Lastly, you want to make sure you're using clips on the bar to make sure that the weights don't slide off while you're lifting. Now, before you actually begin the lift, you want to make sure you're properly positioned on the bench. The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you are eye level with the bar and that you have your 5 points of body contact. And what this consists of, it consists of your head, your upper back, and your butt touching the bench, while also making sure that your feet are right directly under your knees. And this is so that you have the most optimal force output in pushing the bar up. So now that you're positioned correctly onto the bench, we're going to move on to what kind of grip you're going to have on the actual barbell. What we're going to be working with is a pronated grip, slightly wider than shoulder width. Now, when you do get more experience with this exercise, your grip might change and be even wider than this initial grip. And that's perfectly fine, but for a beginner, we do stress that you start with slightly wider than shoulder width. And this is to ensure that you are engaging the right muscles, which are going to be your pectoralis major, your anterior deltoids, and your triceps brachii. So now moving on to the actual exercise, and the most ideal situation is that you want to have a spotter. And what a spotter does is we basically act as a safety net for the lifter to make sure that they don't drop the weight on themselves if they can't complete a rep. Another duty is to help them start off in their set by breaking the weight. And what that means is basically helping them get the weight off of the hooks and into the starting position. So as a spotter, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an alternated grip and grab the bar. And when the lifter signals me to start, I'm going to lift the bar with him and get it positioned right above his chest. And when it's right above his chest, that's when I would let go. And once I let go, this is going to be the starting position of every rep. From this starting position, the lifter will lower the weight, keeping it in line with his nipple. And as he's doing this, you notice that he's keeping his arms perpendicular to the ground and his wrists stiff. And this is to ensure a nice driving force upward in a straight linear path the whole time. Me as a spotter, what I want to do is I want to keep an alternated grip close to the bar at all times, but not touching. We don't want to shift any of that weight and risk him dropping it. So as he's lowering, I'm lowering, staying close to the bar, ready to grab the bar and act as a safety net if he does drop it. At the end of his set, the lifter will signal that they are done. All set. And when they're done, you're going to grab the bar and guide it to the hooks. You're going to set it down. You're going to make sure it's safely resting on the hooks before you let go. So this exercise is a pretty straightforward one, but like any other exercise, there's always movements where if done incorrectly or if precautions aren't taken, could lead to serious injury. Some of these include having an awkward grip, and what I mean by that is having, let's say, your thumb right beside your fingers instead of around the bar. And what that could lead to is the bar slipping out of your hand and dropping the weight onto yourself. I think another precaution that you should take is not letting the weight drop or bounce off your chest as you see some lifters do. What this could do is just break your ribs. You know, you're letting the weight, all that weight come down and just bounce off your chest. And yes, this is a little easier in completing the rep, but the point of this exercise is not to be easy, it's to induce muscle growth. Another risk of injury is letting your wrist be too loose instead of stiff. This is stiff, this is loose, and what this could cause is possibly the weight slipping out of your hands and just increase the injury to your wrist as all that weight is hanging and hinging off your joint. Another example could be on days where you're working on heavy sets or trying to max out. You would want two spotters, two side spotters, instead of just one singular spotter. And this is to ensure that, you know, it's really heavy weight. Maybe your one spotter wouldn't be able to lift it. And having two side spotters is just a little more safer when you're doing weight under these conditions. One last technical error that I want to talk about is having too high of an arch when you're bench pressing. Now, you notice this arch is very, very unnatural, and what this could lead to is when you start lifting and you're coming down and then you start going back up, what could happen is when you're doing a lot of weight is you could accidentally pull your butt up too with it. And what this could lead to is straining your back and also just using other muscles in improper form, and you're not going to get the most benefits out of this exercise. Thank you all for viewing this video today. That's all that I have. And remember that these guidelines are provided by the National Strength and Conditioning Association. Stay safe, stay hydrated.